I didn't realise the mic wasn't muted. I didn't realise that the mic wasn't actually muted then during all that, so that kind of messed it up a bit. But yeah, 2 matches, Athletic Bilbao, 2 games, played them at 5 o'clock, played them at 8 o'clock, won both. Exciting. Got to see pretty much everyone, every single Liverpool player that you could possibly imagine. I'm just going to change the light on that because that's awful. Not much better, but hey-ho. I look a bit shiny, but anyway. But no, we've seen every single Liverpool player play. We've seen every single squad player, first teamers, reserves, substitutes, everyone, bar Alisson Becker, wasn't involved in the matches today. No Van Dijk, out ill, and no Conor Bradley out injured. But beyond that, beyond those players who weren't involved, beyond Van Dijk and Bradley and Alisson, we've got to see pretty much every single player, including like the youth teams. We saw plenty today, and there's plenty to discuss, and we're going to get into that. Please make sure to click like and subscribe. Get involved in the comments what you thought of both matches, because we're going to talk on both. There'll probably be more focus on the second one, let's be honest, because that was the one which pretty much solidified for me, I don't know about anyone else, who our first team's going to be when we play Palace on Sunday in the Community Shield. There was a lot of first teamers in that squad. A lot of people you'd expect to next season are probably going to be in and around the main starting 11. And yeah, there's plenty to dive into. Start off with the first one then. I mean, Atletico Madrid got pretty much thumped in that first 2 minutes alone. We scored in the 2nd minute, Rio Ngumoha, then Darwin Núñez in the 5th. There's an own goal from their goalkeeper in the 42nd, but we're going to count it as Ben Dokes, which we're all going to get into this. We're going to break it down bit by bit. And then Harvey Elliott with what felt like a very sentimental goal. I don't know if that's the way to really describe Harvey Elliott. He looked sad. Like, he scored and then he looked really sad. Like, he looked like he was about to burst out in tears. So I think it might be, skepticism might be my way of looking at it, but I think that was Harvey Elliott's last game for the club, or there's something, he's in discussions or something. He looked devastated after scoring that goal against them. So, not sure. We can get into all that anyway, but there's plenty to discuss. We'll move on to the first half. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about the positives of the first half, the negatives of the first half, positives of the second, negative of the second, then just give my overall thoughts. It's going to be a sort of, don't look at it as a sort of tactical breakdown. It's just my opinions, thoughts. Get your guys' thoughts as well. Darza said, Rio is something else. What a young, talented player we have in him. What a goal and what an assist. A goal and assist in the first 5 minutes against Athletic Bilbao. Rio Ngumoha is looking like such an incredible, incredible talent. 16 years old, 17 in a month's time, and he's already making the rest of the first teamers around him look average. We played Yokohama the other day and he looked miles ahead of every other attacking player in our squad. It was a mental performance from him. 16 years old. I cannot stress that enough. He is 16 years old and he's playing like a regular first team, as someone who's been involved in this squad for years. Technically, he's our best signing from last summer, because the only other players we signed were Chiesa and Mamadashvili, and Rio Ngumoha has come in and he looks like the best of the bunch, but hey-ho, it is what it is. But yeah, first half, positive. To be honest, I normally do it like I do the negatives and then we end on the positives, but there's so many positives to discuss as opposed to the negatives. It makes more sense to go this way. It makes more sense to look into the main reasons why we won the 2 matches we did. First one, far more convincing than the second, which is really strange, but it's to be expected. And yeah, so anyway, let's get into it. Rio is ready to be involved more if you're good enough than you're old enough. There was great composure for his goal and an excellent finish. Came out of nowhere. I was not expecting Rio Ngumoha to get anywhere near the goal in the manner of which he did. The way he picked up the ball, the way he took it on, you can see him looking side to side. You can see him working out what he wants to do. Does he want to put the ball out wide? Does he want to square it into the middle? Does he want to find someone? Takes it on himself, and he did that against Yokohama, and he did it against Stoke in that match. Like, he's so ready for this first team push, and I think there's a lot of people out there who were sat there saying, well, we did that with Owen. There is such a difference between the way of which we can handle Rio Ngumoha and a Michael Owen. You look at where Rio Ngumoha is now. He's competing with a Cody Gakpo. You've got Florian Wirtz, who can cut on the left. You've got Ekitike, we'll get into that game in a bit, but he drifted out to the left. There is options and versatility and different ways of which Rio Ngumoha can be covered. Whereas when Michael Owen was coming through in the late 90s, very early 2000s, he got put into the team immediately, that first game against AFC Wimbledon where he got the goal, because Fowler got injured. Fowler suffered a really serious injury. Michael Owen got put straight into the team and he had no choice but to bear the load and to lead us forward and to lead the front line. That's why he got burnt out, not because we didn't, we just thought, oh, he's really good, play him loads. It's because there was no other option. And Fowler left shortly after that, and there was no one around him who could deputise. You had the likes of Emil Heskey was there. Karl-Heinz Rieder came in at one point and tried to sort of take up that mantle. Different players tried, different players offered different avenues of competing with Owen, but you were never going to overtake him. He got burnt out because he was our only option. Rio Ngumoha does not have that problem. And I think he's going to get his minutes managed. He's going to have different players who can rotate around him. This is not something to be too concerned about because there's different people who can come in. And I don't worry about it too much. If he's good enough, he's good enough. He's 16 and he takes on players better, arguably, than anyone in that team. Salah at the minute's not that type of player. Cody Gakpo showed glimpses of it today. Darwin Núñez can't do it. Ekitike can do it. We saw that today as well, which we're going to get into. But Rio is ready. And the way he linked up as well for that goal, that Darwin Núñez goal, the second one, all three of that front line linked up brilliantly. Ben Doak picking it up on the right-hand side. The cross across to Rio Ngumoha, who, look, in most scenarios, I think young players in that situation would have thought, go for goal. Just confidence is high. Go for it. Just have a chance. You've just scored the first one. Who's to say you're not going to? The touch that he gives Núñez, the way he knocks it down to him and places it perfectly for Darwin Núñez to find the back of the net is expertise. Like it's intelligence above where he should be. Most young lads in that situation would think, yeah, just have a go. He doesn't do that. It's nice to see that all three of those players really linked up well in the manner of which they did. Ben Doak in particular, I thought he looked superb. I really do hope he gets his opportunity next season or this season even. And I know there's people who say, well, where does he fit in? We're going to be losing Federico Chiesa. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Like, that's in discussions. Everyone seems to be resigned to it. And then you've got Jeremy Frimpong, who people are saying, well, he can play right wing. Jeremy Frimpong's better at a right back. We saw that in that second match time and time again. Conor Bradley is out injured at the moment, be it minor, what have you. He will get injured again. That's just part of him. He's injury prone. We knew this going into the season. That's why we went out and signed Jeremy Frimpong. Say Bradley's injured. Say Salah goes off to AFCON. We're going to lose Chiesa. It's a lot of what ifs. It's a lot of buts and a lot of different ways to sort of justify the reason for keeping him. Having a Ben Doak there who can come in over Salah instead of a Chiesa is imperative. And I think that this match today showed he's good on the ball. He's really capable of holding up play out wide. He's able to cut inside. He's got a shot on him. That volley alone sort of summarised that. And his link-up play with Elliott was terrific. His link-up play with Stevenson in that first half, Lucas Stevenson, who I thought had a very good game. It was brilliant. So there's a place for Ben Doak in this team, and I really do hope he gets the opportunity that across the box to Ngumoha. Brilliant. He has to get minutes for sure. He will 100% get minutes, Rio Ngumoha. This season, he's going to. I think you can't have this pre-season performance and not be given the opportunity. He's pretty much earned the right this season to be the backup to Gakpo. And we're getting linked to Rodrigo. We're getting linked all over the place to a multitude of different players. He needs the moment. He just needs the minutes, Rio Ngumoha. He's more than justified it. Intelligence for Ngumoha to this. Curtis Jones, the deepest of the midfield three in that first game. McAllister, Elliott and Jones. He was the deep lying one. He was the number 6. Often it would go into a double pivot with McAllister and Elliott would be the furthest one forward. But I thought Jones had a lot of energy, had a lot of tenacity. He was willing to pick up the ball and run at the defence, at the Bilbao defence. The way he burst at the edge of the box, he'd go for it, take on a man, make space for himself. That's the Curtis Jones that I want to see more of. I don't want to see the Curtis Jones who holds onto the ball for too long, misses it, loses it, what have you. I want Curtis Jones who picks up the ball, runs with it, because that's what Curtis Jones is best at. He's good on the ball. He can hold on to it for too long, but I think when he finds space to work with, he's got people to lay it off to. That's when Curtis Jones is at his best, and that's the Curtis Jones that I want to see. If I'm a bit quiet at the minute, it's because my fiance's next door. I don't want to wake her up, so Do apologise for that. But no, just Curtis Jones picking up the ball, that's his best position. And that's what we saw in the last match against Yokohama, leading to Florian Wirtz's goal. Plenty to work with from Curtis Jones going forward. And I think now that we've got Florian Wirtz, who's this pretty much out-and-out number 10, we saw that pretty much today. You've got McAllister, you've got Szoboszlai, all competing for that same spot. Jones doesn't need to be in that mix. I think he's learned from what Elliott did last season, where he couldn't get a game in. You've now got Florian Wirtz, who's come in, making it even more difficult. Gravenberg's big problem last season was he burnt out because there was no one who provided them competition. Putting Jones there, capable on the ball, good distributor, can hold on to it a bit too long at points, like I've already said, but he's also very composed at times, very good at bursting into space for it. He can drift out wide. I think keeping him in that position would be terrific. That's his more suited position, is that deep line role. We need a centre-back like Mark Gahey. Could we try Neoni there in centre-back as our young centre-back? He's got good reading of the game and can even get better. Robbo look good, makeshift centre-back as well. We'll get into all that as well because there's plenty to talk about there. Trey Neoni, hats off to him. Young lad who's been brought in. And he's basically been told, right, get a centre-back. You've never played there. You're probably never going to play there. But go into centre-back and just make something of it. And he did a brilliant job, to be fair to Trey Neoni. Few moments where he was a bit, he maybe panicked, maybe a bit under pressure. What do you expect? It's Trey Neoni at centre-back. This is like screaming when we put Jordan Henderson there and Fabinho there in 2020, 2021. That's a lot of 20s. Trey Neoni, I think he did very well as positioning. There's a certain bit where he's like 2-on-1, and yeah, the pass could have been better, but he intercepts it brilliantly. I thought he did a good job. I'm not saying it's something I'm advocating going forward. Certainly not. I want more depth at centre-back. We'll get into that as well, but I thought he did good. And Rio was man of the match. Yeah, it's hard to argue for that first game, really. There's no one else in particular that sort of stood out to me too much. I mean, Ben Doak was good, but he definitely wasn't man of the match material. Nunez, no. McAllister was class, same with Jones, but even then, no, I think Rio's got to be man of the match. Lucas Stevenson looked solid, quick off the mark, composed at the back. I've put compressed, fucking autocorrect, man. Physical and did well with a makeshift back line, and that's got to get touched on because Lucas Stevenson's looking set to be on his way out. I think he's going to Aberdeen. He was on loan at Dundee where was he on loan last season? Was it Motherwell? I can't remember. He was in the Scottish League last season, basically, but he's going back there on a full-time deal. Discussed it on Anfield Index the other day. He did well here. He did very well, Lucas Stevenson. Probably added a couple more million onto that price tag, if we're being completely honest. But I thought he looked good. Positionally aware. Very good going forward. Defensively was solid. Had the moment for the Bilbao goal. Fine, fair enough. The ball got on top of him. He just couldn't get rid of it. Couldn't get any sort of leverage on it. It happens. I've seen it happen to Van Dijk. I've seen it happen to Jamie Carragher. I've seen it happen to a million different players. Everyone is susceptible to doing that. Lucas Stevenson's no exception. But for a first game, like in a back line which consists of him, Trey Neoni, Andrew Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas, I thought Luka did very well, so fair play to him. And he's going to do great in Scotland again like he did last season. We used triangles very effectively in the midfield, especially on the left-hand side. There was a lot of link-up, passing around the man, creating space for one another. Thought we did brilliant. Neoni's interception in the 33rd minute on that 2-on-1 situation. Got to give him, I can't give him enough credit, Trey Neoni, for what he did in that situation. So many people would have panicked. The pass could have been better. Maybe just put it over him, but I thought he did really well. And then Ben Doak's volley in the 40th minute and his goal to take it onto his right-hand side. It's just great seeing Ben Doak involved. And there's so many people who are saying, keep him. So many people who are saying, get rid of him. It's best for his career, I think, that he moves on. But what people aren't addressing is the fact that, we lose Salah to AFCON, of course. Frimpong's a right back who's going to deputise with or rotate around an injury-prone Conor Bradley. Chiesa's going to be leaving. So who's your right-wing option in that scenario? Say Bradley's injured when Salah goes to AFCON. And people will then sit there and say, well, that's a short-term view. You're looking at it in the next couple of months, nothing beyond that. Salah's not going to be here forever. We need to go out and sign someone who can take over his mantle, which is near impossible because of the level he is. We've had it with Gerrard, we had it with Rush, Dalglish, all these players. But having Ben Doak with a year or two more experience when Salah does inevitably leave is a big thing for him. And I want him learning off Salah, being involved in this first team. He's capable of going through the middle every now and then. but he's a good player. He's good on the ball. He's very quick, and I just like to see him get his opportunities. I have to say, I'm loving the new Adidas kit. So good. That kit is amazing. I love that kit. I haven't bought it yet, and I'm really disappointed that I haven't. But what do you make of the away kit? Because I'm 1 minute I like it. I like the colour. That it's like an off-white, and I like the badge. But I don't know. Then other times, like I'm like I don't like the badge, and I don't know. We need to stop making sloppy errors in the first and second game. Yeah, I mean, the second game in particular, I thought we switched off massively. And that was something that we saw at points last season, which we'll get into shortly. I'll sort of fly through this first game because I think most people want to talk about the big play. That's a bit disrespectful, but you know what I mean, the signings and what have you. Negatives, lack of centre-back depth is terrifying. If we're in a situation where we're going into a title defending campaign with our backup options at centre-back being Wataru Endo, Andrew Robertson, and Trey Nioni, there's going to be issues. I know Gomez is apparently not too far off being back to fitness, but how long is that going to last? But we lose Van Dijk today, and suddenly we've got a midfielder at centre-back and a left-back at centre-back. There is an issue there, and we need clear depth. Mark Gahey, Castello Luqueba, someone who can just come in and immediately hit the ground running in that role. Mark Gahey would be terrific, but he's just not the best in the air. Castello Luqueba is a brilliant ball-playing centre-back, one of the best progressive centre-backs in Europe. There is some defensive issues there. You're never going to find the perfect man to come in, but don't forget we've got Konate, who's probably going to be leaving in the year, or possibly. Gomez is injury prone. Narlo doesn't look ready to be coming in, even though he was involved with the senior team, so he probably is going to get a few minutes. I don't know. I understand that it was a pre-season friendly. Yeah, but this is our last pre-season friendly before the season starts, and I think at this point you've got to be a bit more strict with the way of which we're viewing this, because this is the last matches that we played before the Community Shield, which people will rip it and say it's a pre-season friendly, who cares? It's a trophy, it's a cup, it's a competition, it's a shield, whatever you want to call it. I want to win that. Everyone wants to win that. We now have to view this match with the perspective of this was our last pre-season match. Anything that we've seen for this is our last piece of evidence for how we are going to perform next season. This is the last time that we've seen this team play before we officially get into the season. So we need to take it with as much narrative as we can and go from there. And there were a few sloppy moments, and we will get into that. Very few wingers that are available that can replace Salah. That's why we're after Isak. This is what I'm saying. No one is going to replace Salah. We're trying to address his future departure in a different way. And that's what Ekitike's position and will do today. I'll fly through this so we can get up to all this. Conor Bradley injured, Van Dijk's illness. Defence looked leaky and uncomposed at points, but that is to be expected. Like I said, it was a back line with two left backs, a midfielder, and two midfielders. No, Stevenson. What is Steve? Is Stevenson's a midfielder, isn't he? So two midfielders and two left backs at centre back. Like, there was never going to be a composed back line in that, but that's pretty much just the way it is. First half negatives, yeah. Second half positives. We saw Pixie's debut. I can't pronounce his name. It's P something. PC. I don't know, but we got his debut anyway. He looks odd. Ben Doak looked willing to find space in behind. Robertson looked decent as centre back, but he definitely isn't a permanent option. There was one moment where he had to burst to reach the ball that he miscontrolled. Did well, and then he sort of pulled up a bit, and that's the problem now with Robertson. He's reaching that age where maybe physically he can't match the demands of what's being expected of him. He needs to be quick, he needs to be ready. Stevenson's a left back. Okay, he got 1 goal and 2 assists last season in the Scottish League. That's all I really know. To be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, so 3 left backs and a midfielder in our back 4. That tells you all you need to know about where we are in terms of depth defensively. Robertson looked good, but as I say, I think he's getting to that age now where pace is starting to elude him. Maybe that's why we're moving him to centre-back a bit more. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. Great build-up again for Elliott's goal. Nunez showed great composure to actually lay it off, receiving the ball. I think Nunez in most situations goes for that himself, lays it off brilliantly for Elliott. And like I said, he scored and he looked devastated. Like, he looked like he was going to burst out into tears. I think he knows he's coming to the end of his Liverpool career, which is fine. Elliott's too good to be sat on our bench. He's too good of a player to just be sat around waiting. There is more competition there with Wirtz coming in. I think Szoboszlai today made a great account of why he's almost undroppable as well. McAllister's getting back to fitness. You've got Gravenberch and Jones with the number 6 role that Elliott can't compete in. He needs to move for the sake of his career. I think that's the problem we've got, because he's not going to get game time out wide, especially if Ben Doak's doing what he's doing, and Frimpong and Bradley when he comes back to fitness. There's no place for Elliott, as horrible as that sounds. He's one of the best players that we're selling of the past 10 years in terms of, it's not that he's bad. It's not like we want him gone. It's just there's nowhere to fit him into this team. And he's too good to just be sat on the bench. And he's too expensive to rot on the bench as well. And McAllister rested in the 55th minute. Brilliant to see. Second arc negatives, Jayden Danns gets game time. Brilliant. That should be a positive. But his hold-up play is a bit ineffective. It just feels like he gets the ball, stands there, and then doesn't know what to do with it. So many times he drift out into the left-hand side. The ball go out of the play. That's what that is. Goal was a mess. Tsimikas fucking put on his arse, by the way. 100% foul. It's like anyone who's suggesting it's not a foul for Tsimikas' one is completely wrong. Woeful. Goal was a mess. Tsimikas was clearly fouled in the build-up. Stevenson gets under the ball, and could the keeper have done better? Maybe. He does sort of just swipe at it, but that's up for debate. And Tsimikas looked erratic at points, similar to Kerkez in the Yokohama match. Lot of unnecessary fouls given away, but it is what it is with Kostas Tsimikas at this point. He's just, you know what you're going to get from him. He's good going forward, great set-piece marker, or set-piece creator even. Defensively, he's okay, but he can be a bit rash at points, and we saw that in this match in particular. Overall thoughts, Rio is ready. Centre-back depth is needed urgently. I cannot stress that enough. I don't want to go into a situation like 2020 where we ended up with 2 midfielders at centre-back, and then we had to go and get Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies, and one of them never even played for us. One of them was on loan, and then Nat Phillips and Reece Williams were the 2 senior players that we had, and we scraped Champions League football. I cannot go through that timeline again. Let's sort that out immediately. I might want to plug in my PC, apparently it's on. Thought I already did. Great to see the young lads get some game time. A lot of debuts in. I think I'm back on. Am I? Well, okay. Don't know what happened then. Apparently my camera decided to die. That was superb. Or not my camera, my laptop as a whole just decided to completely crap out on me, but hey ho, it is what it is. Let me just get the actual thing back up. Well, that was fun for a minute. Do apologise. The centre-back position that year was cursed. Yeah, 2020, cursed year. And then Jones then played in the Century Reserve and rotation squad along with Nunez. Tells you all you need to know. So, yeah, Jones is viewed as a second choice behind Gravenberch, I think. Elliott looks like he's going to be leaving. And Nunez is in conversation to leave. So, yeah, let's move on with that. Second match. This is the one. This is the match where we were talking about the big name players. Not the big players, because you know what I mean? Like Jones, Elliott, even Nunez. There's a lot of young lads you could look at and think, big player, big future, important. But this one, it's the second match where we got to see who we think is going to play in the Community Shield against Crystal Palace. Our starting 11, our starting squad, I think was the one that started this. Obviously, Alisson, I'm not sure if he's going to be back. I don't know what the situation is with him. Is he going to be involved? Is he not? But we had Mamardashvili, Jeremy Frimpong, Endo obviously will be replaced by Van Dijk, Konate, Kerkez, and then you had Szoboszlai, Vert, and Gravenberch, and then going forward you had Salah, Gakpo, and Ekitike. And that is much more of what we expect to see. It makes complete sense that that's the way we did it. I'm really glad that it wasn't a case of we got them mixed up and we played our worst team against their best team and vice versa. But hey ho, it is what it is. Kerkez played in midfield at point. Now, Milos Kerkez, I think, had a very good game. But there was definitely moments, I think, with Milos Kerkez where he was operating sort of in a... How do I explain it? Go inverted midfield, and he sort of operated alongside Gravenberch when Szoboszlai pushed forward. Szoboszlai pushed forward with Florian Wirtz, and it made like a sort of a square in midfield, two defensive double pivots, or one defensive double pivot, and then ahead of that you had Szoboszlai and you had Wirtz. And it just felt like it was a passing method. It was so that you always had someone free. But then whenever Szoboszlai would come back in that double pivot alongside Gravenberch, Kerkez would drift back out wide. And I suggested this in the Hugo Ekitike video and the Alexander Isak video I did, where I said that we can play in a 4-2-4 where Hugo Ekitike and Isak can operate as the two central players with Wirtz drifting out wide, and then you have Jeremy Frimpong move into the middle, and you do a 3-3-4 formation where you can have three defensive players, three midfield players, i.e. Jeremy Frimpong, who can go inverted, or Kerkez if you want to, and then you can have Ekitike start out wide, drift into the middle alongside Alexander Isak, and you can have Florian Wirtz drift out there, which he's capable of doing. Not to mention we've also got Cody Gakpo who can play that role. There is a multitude of different ways in which we can do this. Either way, Salah stays on the right wing. You don't touch him. But yeah, there's a way for that to happen. And I think Kerkez playing in this sort of box formation alongside Gravenberch and the double pivot really lends to the narrative of that's how we're going to operate next season, in a similar way to what PSG did to fucking the Champions League out of the park. Wirtz's transition from defence to attack was incredible. There is some players that you look at and just think you would be perfect under another manager. And that's not to say that Wirtz isn't doing great with Slot, because that's 2 games in a row now where I think he stole the show. I think he got man of the match against Yokohama, actually. This game in particular, he was everywhere. And I would have loved to have seen Florian Wirtz play in Jurgen Klopp's midfield. I would have loved to see Florian Wirtz operate in a midfield three under Jurgen Klopp, because he was so energetic, picking up the ball from deep and running with it. Defensively, he looked great. His pressing was terrific. The way he linked up with Salah out wide, his 1-2s with Salah itself. And Florian Wirtz, he was so good at not just distributing the ball, but the way he'd do it and then immediately move, creating space. He was able to find gaps to work with. He was able to beat a man. He was creative. He almost scored that header from Hugo Ekitike. Like, he was everywhere. And I think if Florian Wirtz was in Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool team, he would have been unplayable. We'd be talking about someone who's competing with the likes of Goetze at Dortmund when he was under Klopp. You had Gundogan when he was under Klopp. Like, so many big players thrived under Jurgen Klopp. And I think if Florian Wirtz was one of those players who fit that team, he would have been incredible. He looked every penny worth of what we paid for him today. He was amazing going forward. The way he transitions from picking up the ball deep to getting it into space to find someone, his distribution to Ekitike. There was one pass where Ekitike was offside or a player was injured. Defense switched off, yes, but it was a curling ball into him, and he feels like Coutinho. It's a bold statement, but Florian Wirtz today felt like I was watching Felipe Coutinho again, particularly in that 2015, 2016 period where the Liverpool team wasn't to the level that we knew it'd reach when we had Salah in and Firmino was doing like his false 9 role. But when Coutinho was like the star man and he was leading the team, and I think he looked phenomenal today, Wirtz, and there was immediate flashbacks and immediately callbacks to Coutinho in this Liverpool team. His creativity on the ball, the way he was able to get stuck into a tackle, his ability to run forward with it, he could shoot at goal. He was just all round brilliant today, Florian Wirtz, and I cannot wait to see what we do with him. Gakpo was positive. Ran at defenders, felt more willing to cut inside than last season. Last season, it felt like when Gakpo would pick up the ball, a little bit hesitant at times. Maybe receive it, look to pass off to someone else to then run into space. He was willing to take on players today. He was going into the box. He was coming inside. He was trying to find a way to beat people. I want to see more of that from Gakpo. And I think now that we've lost Luis Diaz, We need that extra player to do that. Rio Ngumoha has been doing it, and it's been like a breath of fresh air. Not the slot system stale, but it's very calculated. It's very meticulous. He knows how he wants his players to play. He wants them to receive the ball. He wants to find people at the back post. You know, he's waiting for his midfielders to come up. Having someone like a Diaz or an Ngumoha who can beat someone, take on someone, and do something with it, it felt like a complete change of pace to what we were used to seeing. And I'm happy that we're getting that. And Gakpo today was doing a similar kind of thing, more of it, because he looked lethal when he was going forward. Obviously, he got his goals. More of that from Cody Gakpo, and I'll be happy. Double pivot in midfield was in full effect. Absolutely. Salah's passing range was incredible. That ball to Gakpo in the 12th minute was top tier. That was Mo Salah from last season, but times 10. These past few games, even against Yokohama, where he put the ball over to Ekitike and then he put another one up to Gakpo, got the assist against AC Milan, I believe. Mo Salah's our most creative player, and that's ridiculous to say when we've got Florian Wirtz and you've got Szoboszlai and Frimpong doing the stuff they're doing. But Salah's passing range is second to none at the moment, and that's something that I think a lot of people draw criticism on Salah and say, oh, you know, yeah, Salah's great. I literally did a Zach Jalab shoot last week, and I had to defend Salah, and I put him as our best Premier League player, and people were saying Hazard was better, people were saying Ronaldo was better. Salah has always had the narrative of, he's a goal scorer, yeah, but what else can he do? Creatively, he is the spark in our front line. And I think this season, playing the way he is, he's got people around him now who are competent enough to receive the ball and do something well with it. Last season, we had Jota, of course. We had Luis Diaz and Gakpo. Now we've got Ekitike, who's taking over that Darwin Núñez role. You've also got Gakpo, who looks more willing to run in behind. You've got Florian Wirtz there picking up the ball. You've got Szoboszlai. You've got Frimpong. There's so many more different avenues for Salah to attack, and I think that now he's more playing this further up role, where his role is just to receive the ball and then make stuff happen with it, create or go for goal himself. He will benefit majorly from having those amazing players around him. And I've just realised I need to change the... Let me change that. That's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. Oh, isn't this funny? Let me just get rid of it, actually. I'm just going to... There we go. We'll just get rid of it. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Overlay. That's the one. I'm clicking on the wrong things. Fuck hell. Jesus Christ. This is just an utter mess. There we go. That's the one. Liverpool 3, Athletic Bilbao 2. Completely messed that one up, but it is what it is. But yeah, Salah's our best creator. Ekitike looked aggressive. So good to see him drift out wide. And that's not because I want him to play out there permanently, but I think it leans into the narrative that Ekitike is probably going to get pushed a bit further out wide. And then when we transition into attacks, like you said, Kirk has drifted into that inverted midfield. We went to like a 3-3-4 at points. Wirtz drifts out left. Isak cuts inside. Ekitike cuts inside. And then he's got Alexander Isak, who could potentially come in. His agent was at Anfield today. Alexander Isak's agent was at the Anfield match that got released earlier on. I think Anfield Wrap reported on it. But Alexander Isak's agent was at Anfield. I think now with this Benjamin Sesko news coming out, I think the fact that Benjamin Sesko, Newcastle have come back in with another bid for him, they're pretty just resigned to the fact that Isak's going. There's nothing they can do about it. I expect this to be done in the next couple of days. Will he be in the Community Shield team? No, I don't think he will be. I think it's going to take like 3-4 days before we get to the point of here we go. And then I don't think he's going to be involved in that match. It'll be a sort of, we'll welcome him, blah, blah, blah. The first game when we play Bournemouth, that'll be when Isak comes in. So that is what it is. But yeah, Isak's agent was at Anfield, and I think the Ekitike narrative where he's drifting out wide, he's on the left-hand side, he's going to eventually cut back in, lends to this narrative of Isak playing alongside him, and us trying to make something come from that. First half negatives, we look rusty, I think, in the front line with decision-making at point. We grew into it. This is not me saying that we were awful. This is not me saying that we had a bad match, because that's just far from the truth. But there was a few decisions which we looked a bit... some of the passing ranges, Gakpo's, could he have passed it to someone? Did he need to try and shoot? Not really. Salah, there's one in particular where he's trying to get it across the box and he's trying to find someone with the ball. Does he? No, it gets intercepted and you just look at it and think, well, there's no one there, so who are you trying to pass to? I don't know. I just think some of the decision making in that first half was a bit questionable, but we grew into it, particularly on the counter attacks. We looked brilliant. So I'm not worried. It was something that we addressed as the match was going. It's something we'll address going forward. It's not a concern. It's not something that we need to worry about too much. It was just a few moments. Set pieces are an issue, not just defensively, but going forward. We looked awful. We missed Van Dijk massively. We missed height in that box. You had Ekitike and Konate, fine, big bastards, what have you. Beyond that, Frimpong's 5'6", 5'7", whatever he is. Kirkes isn't big. Endo isn't big. Salah's not big. Gakpo's got a bit of height to him, but he's not the best in the air, really, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. Wirtz is small. Szoboszlai's not threatening in the box. Neither's Gravenberch. So we need height and power. And Arsenal went through this problem when they transitioned from the Invincibles team and they started going to a more technical team. You had your midfield, which had like Gilberto Silva. You had Patrick Vieira. Fucking Fabio. It's because he's getting transferred out. I saw that today. And then you went into the team which had like Santi Cazorla, Francis Coquelin. You know, like it just... Abu Dhabi. It went from this physical, massive team who could win balls, tackle people, win the ball in the box in corner situations, counter-attack, and you'd have quick players who could get the ball to your Thierry Henry's, for example. And then they transitioned into that small team and they struggled physically. They couldn't keep up with the intensity of the Premier League at the time. That was still a pretty physical league. And they stagnated for like 10 years. Didn't win a trophy for 10 years until other teams around them started to match that sort of technical playing ability, and then they found their feet, however you pronounce it, but whatever. And yeah, I just think we've sacrificed a lot of aerial threat. Losing Van Dijk is huge. Just something's not right in the box when it's corners, be it us putting it to someone, be it us defending them. We just look so lost and out of position and out of shape, and it just didn't feel right. Conceded from a corner, never looked like scoring from one, really. And, you know, Endo had the best moment, and even then, we need Isak and 2 centre-backs. Yeah, we definitely need centre-back depth. And that's just, it's making me nervous because we're going to put so much money into Isak. And yeah, we're selling Nunez. And yeah, Diaz is gone. And yeah, Quantum money's gone. And we've still got the Coutinho money, and Aspas money, and the Juve money. And I think we've got money from when we saw like Kevin Keegan left. I don't really know anymore. But, you know, we need centre-backs. And the fact that we're putting so much into Isak without investing in that back line, which still has a defensive midfielder as your number 3 option behind, or number 4 option, who at the moment your number 2 option because there's fucking no one other than him and Konate, is a major concern. I wonder what Isak's video is going to be. I think he needs to be breaking out of a Sports Direct or something. I don't know. Something to do at Newcastle. We've got to figure something out for Alexander Isak. It'll be a prison or something that he's breaking out of, and it's like, oh, I was shackled and now I'm free, and, you know, all this stuff. But yeah, first time enjoying your vid. Thank you very much. I'm trying to keep quiet and I'm just sort of rambling at this point now. It's been a long day. Konate's bicycle kick, sure. Why not? Just go for it. I only put it as a negative because I just thought, I get it. Shaqiri did the same in pre-season when we played United a few years ago. Just go for it. Have fun. But did he need to? Not really. Take a touch. Bring it down. Do something with it. Fucking bicycle kicking in the box. Konate. It's the tallest human on the pitch trying to bicycle kick. It's like the BFG trying to tie his shoes. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But go for it. I only put it as a negative because I thought it was just funny to talk about, but what have you. Balls get across our box too easily. This is something that continuously happens. The ball goes out wide, put straight across our box. There is no one there. It feels like we're backtracking so much to keep up, and we sort of overshoot it. There's massive gaps in between the defenders and the midfield, and there's balls get into the box so easily. So easily when we're on the counter-attack. Or when we're counter-attacked on even. And I just think this is something that's got to be addressed. We push too far forward. We saw this with Nottingham Forest last season, push way too far forward, get counter-attacked, and as soon as the ball is on the edge of the box, it just feels like there's no one in the way, and it takes a bit of a last-ditch effort. Look at Trainioni in that first match. In this match, Robertson had to do it at points. Canate had to do it. I get that it works. I fully get it. But we're conceding goals despite the fact that we're dominating the match. We're conceding shots. We're conceding 2 goals when we've just beat a team 3-2. It just feels at the moment, and I understand it's not this team, and I understand that this is a best team. We just won the league, and I should not be complaining. I should not be moaning. But we need to address this issue which we saw last season, where we're winning games, but we're conceding virtually every match. We're conceding first, which it needs to be addressed. And we went through a big spell last season where we didn't concede. We didn't concede in the first 3 matches against United, Brentford, and Ipswich. Brilliant. But we're still conceding again. And I don't know. I really don't know. Don't ever say you're a big club again. Half empty stadium, embarrassing. I'd love to know which team you support, and then I'll have my answer for you. But don't forget, it was just 2 matches in a row. A lot of people do have to be places. A lot of people do have to get home. A lot of people have kids, and they can't stay there past 8 o'clock. If you look at the crowd, actually, United are filling every stadium they play in. There's levels. You finished 15th. You are the 2nd biggest club in England. Don't forget, people have kids. People, like, if you look at the fans and the crowd that was there, so many of them had children. It was 8 o'clock when the second match kicked off. Kids have got to go to sleep. Kids have got to go to bed. People can't sit there and watch 2 matches in a row. I don't know the circumstances. If you actually go back and watch the first match, stadium's completely filled. If you go back and watch the second match, stadium's filled. It slowly pivots out as it gets later on because some people can't stay there. It's a long day for a lot of them. You say that we're filling every stadium. We sell out every stadium we go in. Pre-season, we did it. Literally watched the Yokohama match, and that sold out within minutes. You go to every Anfield game last season, it's impossible to get tickets because it's always filled out. Every cup final, we fill out our majority. So there's levels. You're 15th. Enjoy it. Enjoy having Amorim. I'll see you in the Championship next season. Apparently, we're a tourist club. Cool, whatever. Balls cut across the box too easily. Second half positives. Endo looked solid at centre-back. I quite liked them there. I did, again, not advocating that it's my permanent solution. Fucking what have you. He's someone you'll stick there. I love Endo. I think he's a proper gritty type of player. Fucking... Oh, I love it. Your fans had to catch their flights. That's funny. No, I think Endo does a job. He's a very gritty, determined player, and he said himself, just put me wherever and I'll do a job. And that's fine. You need people like that. I've said it a billion times. I've compared them to Milner. I've compared them to Michael Thomas. People you can just slap in a position and they'll do their job. There's so many players who will do that, and Endo's one of them. And I think he looks solid. If anything, I think he looked a bit lost when he went to midfield. We saw that against Southampton in the League Cup last season. When he was centre-back, he looked good. Moved into midfield. We lost a lot of pace there. Couldn't hit teams on the counter-attack because he's not a passer, Endo, if that makes sense. He's not someone who's going to distribute the ball well. He's just a slab, and he wins the ball, and that's all I want from him. Yeah, lightning quick counter-attacks. Jeremy Frimpong is just quick as anything. He is fast as fuck. I've never seen... Trent was quick. Bradley's quick. Jeremy Frimpong feels like lightning. He's ridiculously fast going forward, going back. But all jokes aside, you actually looked well, especially when you get your proper starting 11 on. Well, thank you very much. I hope you understand that everything's just a joke, to be honest. So just, your fans had to catch their flights. Fine. I'm not even going to argue that one because I lived in Liverpool. I am from Liverpool, and it's hard for me to get tickets. So, picking up the ball well in midfield, lots of willingness to win challenges, and Szoboszlai was a big part of that. Dominic Szoboszlai, I think, gets a lot of stick because he's actually... Look, we talk on goals and assists, but he brings energy, Dominic Szoboszlai. But last season, I think he was very... It just feels like he's never willing to win a tackle. He's never willing to commit to winning the ball. Picks it up. It's what he does with it next. This match in particular, I thought his pressing was great. I thought the way he approached the game was very aggressive. He was willing to win the ball. Looked good for it going forward. Found space to work with. His passing range was good. That's the Dominic Szoboszlai I want. And I think bringing in Florian Wirtz adds that extra dimension to him where he's going to have to step up his game. Because we've seen Wirtz in this first games, almost scored, was putting the ball out to what should have been assists. Szoboszlai's not going to be able to skate by on enthusiasm alone next season. He's going to need to really up his game in terms of his output. And this was a game which showed that. On a serious level, what do you think your starting 11 will be? So, if it's going on Community Shield... Oh no, fuck it. We'll just say next season. So, yeah, Alisson is goalie. Mamardashvili looks ready to be a starter, but it's Alisson. Alisson's best keeper in the league, best keeper in the world, arguably. Right back, I think Jeremy Frimpong at the minute. Bradley's still not up to fitness. And then you've got Konate, Van Dijk, of course. Kerkez, I think, is probably going to start at left back. I'd love Robertson to get the occasional game here and there, but... You know, I do think he is probably going to get used more as a centre-back. I don't see Tsimikas or Robertson leaving now this season because I think they're going to keep Robertson in case they need to stick him there, which I really hope they don't because that's just a disaster waiting to happen. Tsimikas will rotate around Kerkez, and you go to midfield, it's going to be Gravenberch, McAllister, Florian Wirtz. I think Szoboszlai does get dropped. I agree with your sentiment. He's a good player, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Florian Wirtz is not going to play every game. And Dominic Szoboszlai as well, he got through into right back in the second half of this match. I think they're trying to find different ways they could utilise his skill set. He's not going to get in over Florian Wirtz. McAllister, bar fitness reasons, just is undroppable. He did play 55 minutes today. Looks like he's getting back up there. Maybe he will miss the Community Shield, like starting 11. Maybe Szoboszlai goes in alongside Gravenberch. Szoboszlai can drop in that double pivot role alongside Gravenberch. So maybe that one. And then up top, barring... If we sign Alexander Isak, he starts, of course. If we don't, Hugo Ekitike, Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo. I think that's just the most reasonable outcome you can get. It did well in the first half. It did gangbusters in the second half for a period of time. I think it's weird. It picks itself, but we've got so much depth now, and Salah's just undroppable. There's a few players in this team that are just undroppable. And it's great, but it does mean players like Harvey said goodbye. It does mean players like Szoboszlai are going to miss out. Who plays at right back? Because Frimpong's made a good account of himself so far, and Bradley's going to have to really fight for that. If you get Isak, does Ekitike go left wing? So, I have said, I did a video on my channel recently where I discussed this in the Alexander Isak one, if you've not seen it, where I think we start off in a 4-3-3. The midfield three is the one I've just suggested, Gravenberch, McAllister, Florian Wirtz. And your front three is Mo Salah, Hugo Ekitike, and Alexander Isak. That's if we get Isak, this is all hypothetical. Ekitike starts out on the left wing. He showed today that he is capable of doing it. I'm not suggesting that he plays as a traditional left winger like a Gakpo or Diaz did, or an Ngumoha does. Start off on that left wing. When we transition from defence to attack, we go into a 4-2-4 style formation where Florian Wirtz, capable of drifting out wide and to the left, like we saw at points today. Ekitike drifts into the middle alongside Isak, and then you've got Salah on the right wing. And then you end up in a situation where you've got a 4-2-4. If you need a bit more midfield reassurances, you move Kerkez into midfield, like an inverted fullback, or Frimpong, preferably Kerkez. I think he showed today that's probably the way we're going to go, the way he was operating alongside Gravenberch in that double pivot. And then you end up with a 3-3-4. On defensive transitions, Kerkez drifts back out wide. Wirtz comes back into the middle. That's just the way I think it would work. I think Isak and Ekitike up top is a way of doing it where you start Ekitike out wide, drifts inside, Wirtz goes out there, 4-2-4. That's the way that I see it going. And I'm fine with that. We tested it at points today, I think. It works. Gives us an extra dimension. And having Isak in the middle receiving the balls that were put across to him by Frimpong and Salah, goals galore. Or does Gakpo go onto it? If Gakpo holds onto it, it's just a 4-3-3, and then Ekitike or Isak's on the bench. Probably Ekitike, which it's harsh on him, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I'm not complaining. Fuck me, like, it's not the days of where you lose Daniel Sturridge and your backup's Balotelli. It's not the days where, you know, we lose Michael Owen and our backup is Karl-Heinz Riedel. Like, it's long gone of those days now. We're competing between Ekitike and Isak. Fucking fine by me. Isak agent signing paperwork, etc. I suppose you can touch on that shortly. Actually, let me double check what is happening with that now, because maybe I need to sack off the match discussion and actually talk about Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Yeah, Alexander Isak's agent was at Anfield. It's been reported that Alexander Isak's agent is at Anfield. Fuck it, why not? You know, sure. Isak's agent's at Anfield anyway. That's what's been discussed today. And then, yeah, second half positives, second half negatives, corners, as I've already touched on. No one in the front post for Bilbao's goal. It was a bit of a mess. That is what it is. Move on from that. Still conceding even when dominating. Salah's penalty, which fucking took off out the stadium. Why does Salah continue? I get that he scores some, fine, but he's missed a good number of them. Is there no one else who can do it? Like, can we put McAllister on them next season? I'd be fine with that. And then took our foot off the gas, which we already knew about. And then, of course, Wirtz is the engine in midfield. Was amazing on transition and great when attacking. Lets Szoboszlai play in that double pivot. Rio is still class. Konate looked good. I felt that he was back to his best. He struggled against Yokohama at points, I felt. Szoboszlai looked creative when we were going forward. And Ekitike looks like what we wanted Nunez to be. He looked aggressive, so good on the ball, physically imposing, good in the air, and actually got an assist, which is a big thing that Nunez could not do. He got assist, Nunez, don't get me wrong, he did it against Arsenal last season for Salah, but I can't picture a world in which Nunez did what Ekitike did today, just because he's done it before, but I just, I don't know. I think I'm just biased maybe, but Ekitike did great. Florian Wirtz did great. All the new lads did great. If anything, I think Kerkez is probably the one that I'm looking at and thinking, could you do a bit more? Like, he was great, don't get me wrong, but of the ones, maybe Ekitike's just got a bit of sway because I was sick of Nunez and I just want a striker to come in, so anything he does to me is going to look fucking £1,000,000. We did that with Nunez for like a year, where everything he did, no matter how bombastically shite it was, we just went, yeah, it's Nunez. He runs, he's great, he's good on the ball, what have you, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 years later, we're like, fuck, what were we actually saying? None of that. But yeah, I think Ekitike did a good job today. Wirtz in particular stole the show when he was on the pitch. Salah's just Salah, did what he does best. It's just mental. It's mental to me that this is the situation we've been in. And now we're here where Alexander Isak's agent was at Liverpool. Benjamin Sesko is on his way to Newcastle, supposedly. Whether or not that's true, I haven't got much of an idea. I'm not 100% certain. I'm going to test. There we go. But yeah, so Benjamin Sesko apparently is all set to be going to Newcastle. His agent is currently en route to them because they've put another bid in. United is still to bid, but get there, do whatever. Alexander Isak's agent was at Anfield. That's a massive, massive development for us, having his agent actually come to the match. This gets done. I have no doubt about it. The way that Shearer's turned on Isak, the way that Howe sort of turned on him. I say turned on him, but saying this whole, you've got to earn the right to be in this team and to train. Fuck it. He's earned the right the past, 3 seasons. What have you. Sesko wants to go Toon. Sesko wants to go Toon. I'll tell you that now. He's not going United. I'm telling you that for a fact. But yeah, so Sesko going Newcastle. He's going to get game times, guaranteed. I know they're in talks for Visa again. They always are. But Isak's agents in Anfield, this gets done. This 100% gets done in my mind. Barring some sort of mental slip-up, barring something going wrong completely in the negotiations, I see no world now where Isak does not come to us inevitably. And I think you can do it. I think you can play Isak and Ekitike up top. I think you can get two of them working in the same system and operating alongside each other in that 4-2-4 attacking formation. I'm excited. I'm so excited. But we need defenders. We need centre-backs. We need Gahey, Luke Haber. We need something. We can't get Hato anymore. He's gone. He's not an option anymore. Chelsea stole him for a stupidly low fee. We've got to look at signing defenders. It doesn't matter if you've got the best attack. Look at 13-14. It doesn't matter if you beat teams 6-4. Eventually, it will catch up to you. Eventually, your defence will fall apart. Having the best attack is all well and good, but if your foundation is built on biscuits, it doesn't mean a thing. Van Dijk, it's just proved today, an illness can take him out. It can take anyone out. Konate, injuries. Gomez, injuries. Quansah's not there anymore. Endo, he's a midfielder playing centre-back. We need depth in that position. We can't go into this title-defending campaign looking at our four options being 2 senior centre-backs, a midfielder, an attacking midfielder, a left-back, and another left-back. It can't happen. So let's address this issue. I want Isak done, but let's not get carried away with it. And let's just be smart. Let's just be smart and sign defenders. defenders we actually need, people who are going to fit the system, come in straight away, hit the ground running, and just go from there. Going to end it off because I've started rambling now, and that's when I know that I'm done. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please make sure to click like and subscribe. At the time of doing this, if I can find a way to actually do this without without showing finances, I'm not going to do that. I'm 18 subscribers away from 5,000. So if you're watching, you've not done it already, please click subscribe. It really does help out massively. We're 18 away from 5,000. It's insane. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, which is coming out very soon.